Welcome back to AnglingBuzz Ice. I'm Mike Hayner, and today's episode is all about finding panfish over green weeds.
Oh, big crop, big crop. That's a good one.
I mean, he just came flying in, missed the bait, turned around, and then just opened his mouth and the spoon was just off.
It's a huge crappie, Jimmy. I thought this was a bass. This is a huge crappie. Okay, here he is. Here we go. That's more like it. You know, in the wintertime, there's a lot of lakes up our way that maintain green weeds throughout the wintertime. I got just something tearing me up here. A big old crappie. Look at this guy here. Holy mackerel. Oh, jeez. Oh, there we go. That's a beautiful crappie. I'm going to get him unhooked and back. And guess where he was? In the green weeds. So if you can find green weeds in the wintertime, they do hold a lot of fish. Up here in the North Country where we live, in north central Minnesota, we have a lot of medium depth clear lakes that have weeds that stay green most of the winter. And sometimes the weeds are as deep as 15, 16 feet, and they do hold fish all winter. The key is to finding the fish on them. If you're on a big weed flat, it can be tricky to find them, but once you do find the fish, everything might be there. It's not like there's just sunfish and crappies there. Everything can be there, walleyes, bass, pike. So you got to come prepared to fish for everything if you want to fish the weeds. So first up is just probably the most standard standby for us is a horizontal jig with a worm. So either a wax worm or a maggot. And this is a Northland gill getter. So any kind of a bait similar to this would work good. Next up would be a spoon. So here I happen to have a Northland tungsten slim spoon, and I would typically tip this with a maggot or a wax worm as well, and it has a really good action in the water. Third on the list would be a plastic, and a good example of that would be this Northland pin fry, which is a good horizontal bait for catching pretty much everything, crappies, bass, and sunfish. And last but not least, I'll always have a rod rigged up with a hard bait like this Northland rip and shad, so something big and noisy to call the fish in. So if you bring these 4 types of baits out with you when you're fishing the weeds, you should be in pretty good shape. So one final thing I want to talk about is fishing big weed flats. It's kind of a daunting task. Where are the fish? So you find the fish. One cool thing you can do is with the onX Fish app, you can put waypoints on your map on your phone so you can come back to them later. So basically what I'll do is go onto the map. When I catch a fish, I'll save a waypoint. I can label what kind of fish it was, whether it's a bass, crappie, and then I can save it into a folder on the app named for the lake. So at the end of the winter, I'll have folders for each lake and I can have waypoints on each one. And then when I want to go in for reference or go to the next year, all I have to do is open up that folder for that lake and I can see where the waypoints are where I caught fish. Real handy tool for when you're out fishing a big area like we're fishing today.
You know, a lot of crappie fishing revolves around, in the winter, around deeper basin fishing, anywhere from 20 to as deep as 35 foot of water. But we're doing something a little bit different in many, many lakes, particularly clear, deep weed lakes. The fish crappies inhabit weed edges. And that's what we're doing right now. When you look on the map here, I have my depth highlight. The red is 5 foot and shallower. The green, my depth highlight, is anywhere from 6 to 12 foot of water, and you can see what we're sitting in here. We're in a depression up on the flat, and there's actually like some holes up on the flat. There's also a high spot right there, but there's like a depression. But the biggest thing is the weed composition. We have big, tall, vertical, green cabbage weeds in here. Now this is a hummingbird mega live, and what I'm looking out 80 to 90 feet away from us, and you can see how tall some of these weeds these cabbage almost comes right to the surface. Almost, you know, we're sitting in 10 foot of water and it's actually almost right to the surface, but you can see there's like big, tall, vertical weeds in here. I spin it around, and one thing that's, when you're looking at Mega Live in the weeds like this, what you have to do to find the fish, you have to hold it still for a pretty extended period of time, and then you'll see the fish moving around within the weeds themselves. So what we're gonna do now, since we've found where we want to fish, and there are some fish here, is cut a bunch of holes. Okay.
All right, yeah, I'm gonna follow behind James here with an AquaView camera, and he's talking about these big flats with weeds, and some areas there's weeds, some there's not. I'm just gonna poke around the holes, see what we have for weeds, see if I can see a few fish. And sometimes in these areas, the weeds will be so thick you almost can't fish down the hole. So it's kind of good to identify those holes to avoid them, but then find the areas where there's openings in it. So I'm just gonna kind of do a quick recon behind him with the auger and with this little device here that's super handy, and see if I can find some fish and weeds. And there we go. We have got standing cover here, right here. It's gonna be hard. I'll shoot a recording of this so we can see it, but right now we have some weeds that have floated to the surface, and we have standing cabbage weeds, which is what these fish are swimming around in. We might be catching them as shallow as 8 feet into 10, 12 feet, but this area goes on for football fields and football fields of the same stuff. There's weeds, no weeds, flats with openings, and then big standing cabbage weeds and and coontail and some northern milfoil. And these fish,
Michael?
I'm seeing lots of good weeds.
What?
Lots of good cabbage. And the one thing about this particular lake we're on, we're targeting crappies obviously, but we're probably going to bump into a few largemouth bass too, because this is the kind of stuff they like to hang out in. So I'm just going to pop and check a few more holes and then start getting after it.
You see any fish?
No fish yet, no.
Go over but to where Jake's at, there's a whole
I
bunch
know,
of them
Jake's
there.
got a big one on. So we brought Mr. AnglingBuzz Ice himself, Jake Wallace, out with us to kind of do some fishing too, and he's on them immediately. Jake, you didn't wait for us. What the heck?
I was trying to wait, but there were so many marks down there.
That's a nice one.
There was, I was trying to keep it away, and he was about a foot under the ice. You could see him.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, this is all the line I had out.
Right here, right there. Okay, that's a better one. Oh, look at that, nice Gilbert. Come on, buddy. Not a big gill, but a nice one. Buddy, look at that guy. Beautiful fish. Okay. I'm just putting a little bit of just got a bowl spoon on it. It's real small. I think this is a small bowl spoon and a wax worm. A lot of times when these fish are really aggressive in this shallow weeds like this, you really don't even need any type of bait at all. The fish can be really pretty aggressive, but what the fish are doing is sort of interesting. You'll find one hole, and it's more based on the way the weed composition is. There'll be a lot more fish in one hole.
Denied. Hope I got one coming too. Little. Sorting through. Take the little with the big. So one thing I'm a big fan of for crappies are spoons. Spoons work great for crappies, and you can tip them with whatever you want. Minnows, waxworms, Eurolarvae, but I'm a big fan of just using worms, either waxworms or Eurolarvae. And the reason is then you have a shot at a big bluegill too, where they often shy away from a minnow head on one. But this is a borderline walleye size spoon. And you'll notice the crappie I just caught was like 5 inches long. They got big mouths, so, but when you're targeting big fish like this, I mean, we're hoping to get some 12, 13, 14 inch crappies. This is nothing to them to eat. This is small. So I always like to start out with a really big spoon to see if I can get them, because like I say, we're dealing with big fish with big mouths. Jake's like 15 feet away from me. He's got the big AquaView camera head down, filming them, getting some strikes and just seeing what they're doing. But for every fish he's caught on the camera, he's had 3 or 4 come through looking. So it's just these little groups of 4 to 6 crappies, and they're nice fish. They're kind of in their own little world, and they're just cruising by, and he's seeing them on the camera. And Jimmy and I are fishing around him in the perimeter where the fish are. So hopefully they'll just make their way our way as they rotate around out here. So
he came in slow. Another gilbert. I've been just catching gills. You can actually tell the difference between that guy there. Oop. Thing is one thing when you look at these weed beds like this, there's vast areas where there are no fish, so it takes a while to find them. You know, you got to. One thing about ice fishing, it definitely it's somewhat time consuming. So we ended up cutting a lot of holes just initially hunting fish. Oop, look at that one. Oh, look at that guy there. I don't know, that's another gilbert. Look at, he's just right on here, sitting right on the bait. Oop, come on, buddy. Come on. Come on. I wonder if I lost my waxworm. Oop, now he's gonna bite it. Oh, look at that. See, they keep on peeling my waxworm off the back of the spoon. See, that's the weight of the spoon down there. And oh, there's a better one. Oh, come on, buddy. Oop. Oh, I don't know what he is. That's a better. Oop. I don't know what that guy is. Ooh. If it's a crappie, it's a good one. Nope. Another gilbert. A nice gill. Look at that guy.
It's a nice one.
Yeah.
You got a worm on that spoon?
I'm putting just waxies.
Yeah.
That's a hybrid.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. You're on the crappie highway.
Yeah, real nice fish. There was he actually missed it and then circled back around and ate her. That was a cool shot. I mean, he just came flying in, missed the bait, turned around, and then just opened his mouth, and the spoon was just gone.
Oh, big crop, big crop. Come here, buddy. Oh, whoa. Wow. Look at that, there's a nice one. Come here, buddy. Look at that guy there. Whoa. That's a good one. Well, that's a nice one there. Look at that. Interesting. That fish came in really high in the water column. The fish came in about maybe 6 feet down. Look at that. Beautiful fish. It's all sort of interesting when you look at these spots like this. When you get into these weed beds, there'll be everything. Will be in a given area. You'll have northern pike, you'll have bluegills, you'll have bass, you'll even have walleyes and stuff, you know, and bluegills. But the fish will be tendency to be concentrated in certain areas in these weed beds. So it takes some amount of time to figure out where the fish are on in these flats. And that's where I really think it's really beneficial to have more guys ice fishing than less. You got a good one, Michael?
Yeah, I do. It's actually I just seen it. It's a really nice crappie. Really nice crappie. There we go. Come here, get Get your butt out of the hole. There we go. That's more like it. That's kind of more what we're after here. So I just sort of switched up varying baits. I brought 2 rods along. I brought one with a spoon and one with a horizontal. It's actually vertical now because I caught the fish, but vertical presentation, or horizontal presentation, I'm sorry, with a big wax worm for a fish with a big mouth. But yeah, this is kind of what we're looking for. They're getting up there. So, but this fish here, I'm in 11 feet and he came through at 6 feet. I just had my jig at 6 feet and there was no warning. Just all of a sudden my mark on my locator got 3 times as big. So they just come flying in out of Suspendedville here. So yeah, it's a good one.
Oh, everybody's catching them. Jake's catching them too. Nice.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Got one going, Jimmy?
Yep.
He's got him.
What this guy here is. Good one. Ooh. The interesting thing is wow, you're a real whippersnapper. Yeah, buddy. Oh, that's a nice one, yeah. Intriguing thing is we actually had such a mild season so far. Usually this bay and this weed edge that we're fishing in is just loaded with fixed houses. And it's been so mild that they're not out here yet. We're actually in a lake that's right next to our office. We're probably 10 minutes away from my office. But normally there's really a lot of people out on this spot right in here, all over on this flat in here. And right now, there's nobody.
He's up high. Right above the tops of the weeds. That's really cool. There's a good one right there. He's swimming right over the tops of the weeds. Just swimming by nice and slow. Let me film him. Yeah, he's up in the water column probably halfway. So, oh, that's cool. Just one though, one by himself. Interesting though, just kind of keep. So they're in the area, that's a good sign. We just have to keep fishing and wait for them to come by again. I think when we're fishing in like 9 to 12, maybe 13 feet of water, and it's still early enough ice, and I think if we walk around too much, we've seen it on that camera before, they don't like it and they spook when people move or you crunch your feet or whatever. So it's like, it's kind of good once you get into an area where you're seeing the fish to just stay put and let them come to you, because otherwise all you're doing is herding them around when you're walking. At least that's my feeling on it from what I've seen. So
I think that's, I don't know what that is. Whoa, it's definitely not a crappie. I don't know. No, it's got to be a bass or a pike. Yeah.
a Largo?
Yeah. Where is he?
I don't think you got a crappie.
No, if it's a crappie, she's a whopper. What?
That's what's cool about fishing these weed flats, isn't it? It's like,
Yeah, you catch all different species. Yeah, you get pike, you get bass. You even catch a walleye every once in a while.
yeah.
Mixed with a mix of gills. Boy, this guy here, he's a tough one.
Ooh, that's a nice little bucket mouth.
Is it?
Yeah.
Here, you want to handle him for me? I have to get up on my knees here. Wow, there he is, a good one. Look at that guy there. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you bet. Always fun.
Boy, that was sort of weird because boy, you get to really, I just let it sit there. Then he finally hit it.
Oh, there's one coming in. Got him. He came right. Oh, big school's moving through right now. He's not a giant.
It's a good one, Jake.
Yeah, real nice fish. But there's a ton of fish moving through right now.
Yeah, Jake's got the AquaView down with the recorder. We're watching for the fish, and it's really crazy. The fish are coming through high. It's only like 12 feet deep here, but they're only coming like 6 feet down or 7 feet down. Yeah.
Here comes another one. Wow, what the heck? Wow, wow. That's big. Whatever he is, that's a big one. I got him. There we go. Don't know what he is. Another big crop. Yep, another biggie. Another biggie smalls. Come here, buddy. Wow, look at that guy. Wow, there's some really nice ones, man. Yeah, come here, buddy. Look at that. Wow, look at the color of that fish. It's one thing when these fish are really hot, boy, that you don't have to, you get it in front of them and you'll see the fish move up. Here you can see that's just a little tumbler, a VMC tumbler. It's got a little blade on it, and then I tip that waxy on there. The thing is with these fish, the nice thing about a spoon is the ability to have flash and vibration from a distance away. Right now we're sitting in these big tall weeds and I'm trying to attract the fish from 10, 15 feet around as they're milling around. No, that's not a crappie. We've got another greenie, which are fun in between bites here. Let's see what we got here. Yep, I think it's got to be a big greenie. There he is. Not a biggie. Nice. No, come here, buddy. One thing that's cool about fishing up in these weeds like this, because when you get into a good weed bed, there's actually all different species of fish there. You got crappies, you got bluegills, you got largemouth bass, northern pikes, even some walleyes, which is sort of cool. And the interesting thing is there's so many of these different spots over the years we fished like this a lot, and to me it's always intriguing. It takes a while to find them, but once you do, it can be a fabulous ice bite, no question about it. The intriguing thing is also they bite right during the middle of the day, which is nice.
It's gonna be a big bass. I'm gonna almost predict this is gonna be a big bass. Well, maybe not. Maybe it is a crappie. I think it's a bass. It's not a crappie. He acted very bassy. Oh yeah, he's ripping around in a circle. See what we got here. Oh man, he's really tearing it up. You know what? I think it's a big crappie. I actually do. It is. It's a huge crappie, Jimmy. I thought this was a bass. This is a huge crappie. Oh man, that is a big one. Look at that guy, huh? That's
put him on the Rapala stick to see what he's measuring
yeah,
at.
That's sort of what we came out here for, isn't it? To have a chance at these.
14 and a quarter.
Close his mouth first.
14 and a half. Nice.
Yeah, it's a substantial critter, isn't he?
No, what a beautiful fish. No question about that.
Yeah.
Get her back in the water.
Yeah, so that's the end goal, to find fish like this, isn't it? So
shallow water weed crappie.
Yep, shallow water weed crappies for sure. Ready?
Oh, that's a really beautiful crappie, man. Wow.